Words so sharp, they cut right through. Real talk for the soul's appeal. Prayers rise up the wounds they heal. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. Each step brings another fight. Breaking chains, we're seeking light. Voice of power won't be tamed. With his love, we're never ashamed. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. From the ashes we shall rise. Hope is found deep in our eyes. Every word a battle cry. With the Father none deny.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ARP in the morning. I am your host, Wise Man, and I appreciate you all pulling up this morning. We got a good show today, man. We got a good show. I am excited to have this show. We got a good panel, and I have a few people that have already pulled up in the green room down there. So shout out to them, and we'll get them pulled up here shortly. I think everybody else should be on, right around about 9:40, 9:45 or so. So we'll get everybody pulled up here shortly. But definitely appreciate you all pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. It is Friday. Happy Friday to you all, each and every one of you guys. The weekend is here. These weeks are flying by. It is crazy how fast the weeks are flying by, the month. We're already halfway through May. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. When you get older, it seems like, the older you get, man, the faster the daggone time flies. That is the truth, man. It really is. I want to make sure I show some love to my folks in the chat. Shout out to PK Krillin. What's going on with you, man? Hope all is well with you. What up, Kevin Caldwell? How's it going this morning? We got Donna Wilbanks in the building. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's up, Pam Westcott. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. And let me show love to PK Krillin, man. 5:30 in the morning. First person to drop a chat. Y'all are ridiculous. I say y'all ridiculous, but I appreciate the love, man. I do. But come on, man. 5:30 in the morning. PK, what are you doing up this early, bruh? and for you, I know that's Central Time. So because you guys are out there, you're in Tennessee, so that's Central Time. So it's 4:30 in the morning. And I guess I can't knock it, man, because I'm up that early as well. But shout out to you, man. Appreciate that, man. What's going on, Scott Young? How's it going this morning? We got Miss Mandy Reacts in the building. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We have Insanity's Darling. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. Hope all is well. We got Lori Odyson. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Zephyr K9? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Cool Ramon? It is Friday. What up, Quincy James? How you doing this morning, brother? What up, Playboy Billy? What's going on with you, man? Hope all is well with you. What up, Toy Mafia? JJ O'Hara, Thea Flies High, Jane Facto. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Vegas checking in. Roscoe, New York checking in. What's going on with you? Appreciate you pulling up. Hobo Rod Perspective. Appreciate you pulling up as well. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's going on, Billy W? How's it going this morning? What up, Reza Mahmood? Peace and blessings to you, brother. Hope all is well with you up there in Milwaukee. Appreciate you pulling up as always. As always. Playboy Billy said he's out in New Mexico, 7:30 in the morning out there. All right. Krista Knight, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. What up, Barb Blake? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Elijah Burnett, Billboard Bills. What's going on? Massachusetts in the building. AK Bauer, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Northeast Pennsylvania in the house. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Dion? How's it going this morning, sister? St. Louis finest in the building. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Coaster? What's going on with you, man? Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Madeline? How you doing this morning? Hope all is well with you. K-Row 3, appreciate you pulling up. S-Pa-Cess, appreciate you pulling up this morning, man. What's going on with you? We got Texas Liberty in the house. What up, Hank? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Who else we got up in here, man? We got a good show today. It's not going to be a whole lot of me. It's going to be a whole lot of the guests today. Today is a panel show. Obviously, you guys got a chance to see the title. This is a panel discussion on a topic that's been trending. It's really been trending, I guess, for the better part of the week and over the weekend. And there were some folks that reached out that wanted to kind of expound upon this conversation, man. And I'm 100% here for it. I'm sure, we'll agree and there may be some disagreements, and overall it'll be love, man. And we'll agree to disagree as well if need be. But I love it, man. And I appreciate the folks, that are, participating in the panel and, willing to pull up this morning as well. Who else we got up in here this morning? We got Deb Parr, Shelby Dodd. What's going on? Alabama in the house. Appreciate you pulling up. We got Denise Hartman out of Jersey in the house. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Mr. Largy? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got Scott Williams. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got Bevy. Appreciate you pulling up this morning out of Idaho. What's going on, PK Krillin? Thank you for the super chat with the $2 super chat. He says, work, man, on the grind. All right. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, a lot of respect for people that get up and go to work every day. A lot of respect for people that get up and go to work every day. What up, James Brown? How's it going? I'm sure you feel good. It's Friday. We got Gat X Boy. Appreciate you pulling up this morning out of Arizona. We got Krista Knight in the house. Appreciate you. Francis Fernity. Appreciate you pulling up this morning as well. Who else we got? We got Big Job Board, Wisconsin in the house. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got Kelly Red. I want to throw that out there, man. She says it's a CIA spy op against black people, this fatigue BS. I don't know about the CIA. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak to them because I don't know anything about it. But, I do have a family member that happened to work for Central Intelligence. We're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that. What's up, C. Bergie? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Let's say, who else we got up in here? We got Jeffrey Wisnat, Sevierville, Tennessee. What up? Crystal Beyond Labels, appreciate you pulling up this morning as well. Crystal should be on the show today, so I hope you got that link. So make sure you go ahead and pop yourself up in here. We should have Mika as well on here today as well, so I'm looking forward to having her on and Crystal on and everybody else. We got my guy Jason from Dear Woke Christian. He'll be pulling up today as well. Let's see who else we got up in here. We got Marla. Shout out to the Potters Clay out of San Antonio. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Let's see who else we got up in here. Oh, we got my guy Jason in the chat. Grace and peace to you as well, brother. We'll have you pulled up here in a second. Show that glossy hat in the back. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Explain what that means. Show the glossy hat in the back. I'm not really sure what that means, but I'd be more than happy to oblige. Uh-oh. It looks like we're gonna have a little smoke in the chat too. Okay, Kelly Red. I see you. You don't have to go all cats, you know what I'm saying? We can all read. But I do have a question for you, Kelly. Why do you call Anton Daniels and Officer Tatum sellouts for just speaking their opinion? I mean, I think a lot of us, we grew up in black neighborhoods. Lord knows I did. and we started, my parents, man, we started at the bottom. And, over the years, of my parents, coming together, grinding, saving, I saw our lives improve. And as soon as we got some money, we got up out the hood. As soon as we got some money, we got up out of there, and we didn't go back, and we didn't look back either. But I'd like to hear, your thoughts on that as well. And I'm sure my guy Aaron from the Freedmen's Network, I'm sure he's got a lot to say about that as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to this conversation this morning. Shout out to Meg 2237. And who else we got up in here, man? We got Cynthia Nair. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got David Hibbert. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Salt Lake City in the house. All right. Yes. Yes. Mika from Pop Culture. Mika, she should be pulling up today as well. As process. Outstanding. So we're going to get things kicked off. I do have a couple clips I want to share. Once I kind of get that out, we're going to bring the panel members up. So we'll have them pull up, here shortly, and then we'll get things kicked off. The glossy hat on the shelf behind. Are y'all talking about? Oh snaps! Oh snaps! Y'all talking about this joint, or are y'all talking about this joint? This is my signed Jesse Tuggle. My signed Jesse Tuggle mini helmet that one of my guy Jeff sent out to me, man. He knows I'm a Falcon fan. I like the Falcons and the Ravens. I grew up in the Atlanta area, so I'm a fairly big Falcons fan. I like to fly home and watch games from time to time. All right, let's get things going, man. We're gonna get the show kicked off, and I got a couple clips to share with you guys, and we gotta start off with a little bit of a comedic element to kind of get things kicked off. And it's I guess it's somewhat offensive, but it's from one of my shows. My wife actually brought this to my attention this morning because I had completely forgot about it. But Michael from The Office, I don't know if you guys ever watched The Office, but he they had sensitivity training because of this particular skit here in The Office. I don't know if you guys ever watched that, but it's freaking hilarious. Let's get the show started. Oh, before we do that as well, make sure y'all hit that like button for me. We got 110 people in here. Make sure y'all hit that like button for me. Super chats will stop the show even throughout the panel. Super thanks will stop the show even throughout the panel. Anybody that joins the ARP family or gifts an ARP family membership, you guys will be acknowledged as well. Anybody that is a member, if you chat, just make sure you do it in the member so it pops up as a member chat. It will be read as well. And we want to show love to you guys. So anybody that is a member, just make sure if you want something that want to be read out, make sure you use the member chat for anybody that's a member. So that way I can see that and I can make sure I acknowledge that as well. I do appreciate everybody that has pulled up this morning. Blues, make sure we check the likes. I'm not sure exactly where we are, but make sure we check the likes, man. We should definitely be well over 100 likes at this point. So make sure we do that as well. And without further ado, let's get the show going.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's ruined. He's butchering it. Could you just let me? Every time black people want to have a good time, some ignorant ass. I take care of my kids. Wait. Always want credit for something they're supposed to do. What you want, a cookie? How come Chris Rock can do a routine and everybody finds it hilarious and groundbreaking, and then I go and do the exact same routine, same comedic timing, and people file a complaint to corporate? Is it because I'm white and Chris is black?
Not the same, bro.
Black fatigue. This video might make you uncomfortable, but it needs to be made. There's a growing sentiment, most recently, of individuals who are proclaiming they do have black fatigue. And you don't have to be a non-black person to have black fatigue. What does that phrase actually mean? Essentially, black fatigue is a growing weariness of the actions of the quote unquote black community. But it goes deeper than that because we are in 2025 now, and we are being judged based on the content of our character and not the color of our skin. But the interesting part is the lie that's been sold to the Black community in particular is that the color of our skin dictates the content of our character. That's why in the Black community, sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, you are acting white, when they're talking to someone like myself who doesn't act the way most people would expect a conventional Black person to act. In their minds, there is a correct way to act Black. And the people in your ethnic group who fulfill those very negative stereotypes, those are the ones who are going to essentially drag down the collective whole. And that's why there's individuals who are Black who do and can have Black fatigue, because they see how damaging it is to see the worst of us attract all this negative attention that then unfortunately gets ascribed to the entire race all too often. But what's unfortunate is here in 2025, now we have to contend with the fact that there's people who are so sick and tired of seeing those negative aspects, those negative individuals in the Black community attracting all this attention. That's what is spurring this Black fatigue. I think it's something that needs to be talked about. And until we turn inward and address the issues in our own communities, I fear that this is only going to continue and get worse. And that's exactly what the powers that be want. They want to have us against each other instead of us against those who are really pulling the strings in the background.
There was a white woman who has now since deleted her video talking about Black fatigue and how she and the rest of society are so fed up with the ghetto and ratchet behavior, the entitlement, the victimhood. Her words, not mine. Couple of things. One, Black fatigue is a real thing, but it's not what that lady was saying. Black fatigue is the emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by the daily stress of living under systemic racism and its consequences. So the Black community has Black fatigue due to the oppression they've lived under in this country since its inception. Two, it never ceases to amaze me how little most white people are willing to look at the true history of this nation and understand that while they personally may not have owned slaves or lynched Black people or used Black babies as alligator bait or conducted experiments on Black people or operated on Black women without pain medicine because they didn't think Black women could feel pain, they are still benefiting off the society and systems that made those things possible. Racism is deeply rooted in this country from the beginning. We stole this land from the indigenous Native Americans. We brought Black people to this country against their will and sold them into slaveries. We ripped their families apart. We have maligned, maimed, and misused the Black community since the first ship arrived on the shores of the United States. Do you understand how hard the fight has been to get even a semblance of equality in this country? And now, what little progress we've made is being undone by this administration. Trump and this administration has made people like that woman and the many racist commenters on that post feel comfortable to speak so publicly about their racist views and feelings. Because, spoiler alert, nothing will happen to them. Black people are questioned about everything they do, even if they're just walking down the street. Until this country as a whole accepts responsibility for how we were designed and built, this country will never see true equality.
With the rest of white people, I decided to choose violence this morning. You see, I stitched a video yesterday where a man claimed that Black people, making up 13% of the population, actually make up half of the problems in America. I pointed out a few things like serial killers, child rapists, and mass shootings, and never got a response, which isn't very surprising. But I also figured I would go ahead and throw this out there. Here are the number of arrests from the FBI's website based on demographic. White people, if you're talking about this and you're claiming that Black people are the problem, you need to shut.
Yeah, he was about to go really, really crazy. And with that being said, I think we have everybody here this morning. Yeah, I think we do. So let me pull, folks up here. I wanted to just get a couple clips out just so I think we can kind of see both sides of things. Obviously, you can kind of see, the brother that kind of kicked things off. And then obviously, we have the white savior element there, with the young white lady there. But let me pull up the panel for this morning. We'll start with Minister Denzel. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, brother. Hope all is well with you.
Yes, sir. It's always good to be with you guys.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. Let me get my guy Aaron Von Black from the Freedmen's Network. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, brother. Hope all is well with you.
How you doing, Wise? Thank you
Man, I'm
for
outstanding,
allowing
man.
me to come up.
Oh, not a problem, man. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, man. Let me get my guy Jason from Dear Woke Christian. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, brother. Hope all is well with you.
Grace and peace, man, in the building. Good to see y'all, gentlemen.
All right. Got a few others, man. Shout out to Crystal from Beyond Labels. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, sister. Hope all is well with you.
Yes, thank you for having me. Good morning, everyone.
All right. And we have Mika from Red Cup Talk, Pop Culture Mika. Mika, appreciate you pulling up this morning, sister. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Outstanding. And I wanted to bring, he's kind of last minute addition, but shout out to my guy Chris from, the Chris Highland Show. I wanted to pull him up this morning. Appreciate you pulling up, brother.
Absolutely.
Thank you for pulling up, man. All righty. So we here. I want to start the show off like this. Aaron, I want to start things off with you. Because when I did this on Friday in my initial discussion, I don't know if you agree what me and Minister Denzel had to say about it. But I want to start the show off with you. I don't have a question, but go wherever you want to go with this, because I know you had some things that you wanted to kind of get off your chest on Monday. So go for it.
Well, I did like some of what Minister Denzel said. I don't agree with everything, but I did like some of what he said because he brought out some points. But, with this whole thing, this narrative that's out there about this black fatigue, where did this come from? Where did it start? Right? Now it's trending all throughout these internet streets. It's trending, right? But the woman that actually wrote the book, what's her name? Mary Frances Winters. She published that book, I think, in 2020. Black and it was talking to the points of how Black society is weary of the things we go through, from all the way from 1865 to present day, the red line and the black codes, different things like that. And she was speaking to that. But what has happened is the term has been hijacked from the dominant society. And now they're using it because what I see now is a lot of desperation, and they're putting out talking points, and of course you got some of the let me not be too aggressive in name calling, but you got some folks in our society that has picked those talking points up and they're running with them, and that's that in their minds. That's they think they're giving. They're doing something, but right, that's the book right there. Mm-hmm. What they're actually doing is trying to give white society refuge to hide behind. Because if a black person said it, then I'm not racist if I say it. And that's what I see happening.
Got you, Jason. I want you to get in there.
Oh, man, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me. Grace and peace to the panelists. One of the problems that I've discussed on my channel, and actually we talked about this last week, and I'll probably be talking about it, I'm gonna start calling it Fatigue Friday, is we as Black people are not taking the time to honestly discuss what happens in our culture and what is associated with our culture. We're extremely quick to blame bonnets and pajamas on white people and slides and such like that on other people groups rather than us. Why do we allow that? Why do we allow that? And a lot of the time, what Black fatigue for me is me having to explain why women in Walmart wearing bonnets and pajamas and slides. I'm tired of that. I don't find joy in trying to explain why we behave like we do in other scenarios. But that has nothing to do with white people, though. That's the thing I find very interesting. We're very quick to blame and point the finger at white people, but that ain't got nothing to do with us, with them rather. It got everything to do with us. Why our children are raised in households without men, that's something that we need to discuss and have an honest conversation about. Why our schools are failing. We have to have that conversation. It really truly has nothing to do with white people. So to blame, now whether or not, I do think it's funny that white people are co-opting the term black fatigue? Because I do know what the initial author meant. And I find it kind of humorous that it's now being co-opted and taken over and used in a different way. But haven't we been doing that forever? Why are we acting? Why are we clutching our pearls? Because they're taking the term black fatigue and using it differently. And we do it all the time. So stop it. But back to the point. We are not willing to have honest conversations because as soon as we start saying, hey, we need to stop doing the bonnets and pajama mafia, we need to stop that, we immediately get called on the carpet by who? Black folk. About why? Because we're not sticking to code, because we're not following along, or we're going against the culture, we're not standing with the community. All that kind of stuff like that. They ain't got nothing to do with white people, Indians, Asians, or Hispanics. That's us that are doing that. So I'm finding it humorous and I'm enjoying talking about it because we do need to have an honest conversation about it and say that ruckus, loud, noisy minority of black people that are really dragging everybody down. We need to have a conversation about that.
I would agree. I agree with everything that you said. Mika, I want you to go. What are your thoughts on this particular subject here?
Good morning, everybody. So here's the thing. As a person that grew up, being raised by my mother's side of the family, which is Polish. Okay. So I grew up in preferably a white household. My grandfather is Polish. My grandmother is Native. So I grew up under, quote unquote, the white man. Here's the thing about it. What in society are we really talking about? Because just because you are Black, African American, whatever you want to call it, do we get a pass to say you can't call out degeneracy? Now, growing up in this household, I had a lot of other family and friends, and they would say all the time, don't talk to this person, don't talk to that person. They would be talking about other white people, and they would call out the degeneracy. For some odd reason, in the Black community, you can't call it out.
Let's go.
And you have to acquiesce to it. You have to act like you understand it. You empathize with it. You know it. Even if you don't come from that. So I think that does a disservice to a lot of the community, because you can't even advance without being called bougie, without being called the C word, which is really white supremacy, if you really want to say it, because that's who gave you that word, to call yourself that. But however, it's just something I've noticed. And I think that's the biggest thing. We talk about, certain people, certain demographics, certain groups, such as what they call the YN, such as what they call, a lot of girls that are doing all this twerking and things like that, like in inappropriate places, because there's a time and a place to do whatever. That is a culture. That is a subset. Unfortunately, Black people won't call it out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. No argument from me there. Chris, I want to get you in here. As the I guess the only white American here on the panel today.
Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Chris.
I want to get your thoughts, man. What are your thoughts on this subject? When you first heard, I guess the term black fatigue, and you see, some white people actually agree. Others are coming out here and they are, got their, white savior, captain, save a black person caps on. What are your thoughts? Go wherever you want to go with it.
When I first heard the term, I stopped and thought, I'm like, okay, is that legit? Do I feel black fatigue? And I thought about it. I go, no, I have plenty of black friends, great, lifelong black friends. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, what I am really tired of is I have CRT fatigue. I have the idea that every ill in society somehow stems back to some sort of systemic oppression, whether there was ever systemic oppression in the past or not. And I'm a firm believer that there is no longer systemic oppression. Is there racism? Absolutely. Racism is a spiritual problem. As long as we are sinners on this side of eternity, there will be sin. There will be racism. There will be sexism. There will be murder. There will be, SA. You name it, robbery, theft, pick your poison. As long as, we're fallen people, that will exist. And it exists all around the spectrum. There are white racists and black racists and Mexican racists and you name it. So what I really, when I started thinking about it and really pondering, do I have black fatigue? No, I have CRT fatigue. I have woke liberal BS fatigue is what I'm really tired of. And that I think pervades into what has become, because when I look at, the nonsense of the twerking in Lululemon and the brawls that happen on Caribbean cruise and the stuff that she was talking about, that to me is not black culture. I've experienced black culture, with my friends, and black culture that the black culture that I've experienced is, very family oriented, diligent, hardworking, people, and obviously there's American black culture, then there's the rest of the world, which I don't concern myself with in this conversation. And so when I see the elements that she was talking about, I don't see black culture. I see woke, liberal, CRT toxified black culture. They've taken all the worst elements that they've been fed in the public school system and in the media and in things, in what hip hop has become, and they've ingested it, internalized it, and they've let it remake them into something they were never meant to be. And I'm not even talking spiritually or from a Christian point of view, something they were never meant to be strictly in terms of, their black history and upbringing and the way that, families used to comport themselves. And that's what I'm tired of. And that happens and that's just not just a black thing. That's white. These white idiots, these white savior morons, they make me really want to, rip my TV off the wall.
Appreciate that, Chris. Hey, Minister Denzel, and we'll get to you here in a second, Crystal. But Minister Denzel, I want to give you the opportunity, I guess, to elaborate, on, I guess your take on this from Monday. But I want to ask you a question. Is it really black fatigue, or is it more of just a fatigue of the, degeneracy that we see in America of a plethora of races, whether it's black, white? We just see some very degenerate behavior out there. Is it really a black fatigue thing, or is it really people are just tired of the degeneracy out here? Oh, sorry about that. I got you. I muted everybody because somebody had something going on background wise. Let me unmute you.
That's okay. That I think that's my issue, is that we have a tendency of allowing people to define things for us. We have a tendency of someone developing a language, a term, and then everybody picks it up and runs with it. And I've gotten out of that. I think that Proverbs 26 verses 4 and 5 says that we're not supposed to answer people according to what they're saying, but we're supposed to answer them according to wisdom. My view is that it's not black fatigue. It's actually a frustration with depravity. We do not have to accept depravity. We have to. It's the madness. It's not a fatigue. When I hear and watch these people act up like this, I just see it as is. It's just human depravity, stupidity, and they need to be helped. It doesn't. No one likes to be around that kind of mess. But as I said before, Wise, I think we need to have a program where you actually talk about the solution, because that's where we need to go at with this stuff. But my point is that I try not to let people define my language for me, because when they define the language for you, and as the brother was talking about, the sister that wrote the book and how easy it got co-opted, we have to define what we're saying when we're talking about any particular subject, because everybody has their own views about it. We have to make sure we're on the same page. So my point is that it's basic depravity. It's basic bad behavior. And it's in every ethnicity, it's in every background. And it's not just with black people, but as you said before, and it's very true, that black people tend, the black community tends to glorify a lot of this stuff. And some of them, I said before, they would videotape it and make money off of it. They put it on YouTube. I told you about the experience I had on the bus, where the fight was getting ready to break out, and the brothers started pulling out their cameras, their phones, saying, "I'm gonna videotape this and put this on YouTube." So we glorify stupidity, and I think that the only solution for that is that we have to stop, first of all, making it so viral by giving the wrong kind of attention, and actually dealing with the stupidity when it happens. Remember, I said that last time. You showed the video about the sister in the store, bugging out, and how the person tried to videotape her, and she cussed him out and went berserk on him. And my point was that why would you wait so long? Why don't you just call the cops and let the cops deal with it? The more we shut this stuff down when it happens, the harder it's going to be for them to become an issue. And that's my concern, is that I try not to allow things to become so ingrained where it becomes the negative becomes the dominant. I think our job is supposed to try to figure out ways to shut the negative down, or to let it not be so popular. I mean, sin is sin. The world's in sin. We're going to have that kind of problem. But our job is not to feed into it and to let it frustrate us and aggravate us. Our job is to respond to it biblically. And by responding to it biblically, we shut it down. Every time Jesus was confronted by stupidity, he shut it down with wisdom. You look at the 22nd chapter of Matthew, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, every time they came with him with a dumb comment or dumb action, he responded with such wisdom that in fact, the 46th verse says, from that point forth, no man dared ask him any more questions. This is what I'm trying to aspire as a Christian. To whatever situation is, whatever topic is, when it is presented to me, my responsibility is to observe it carefully, evaluate it accurately, and then respond to it with wisdom, and a kind of wisdom that cannot be refuted without, just being stupid. I hope I'm making sense to y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. Crystal, I want you to get in there. Wherever you want to go with this.
Well, I agree with a lot of the people on the panel because it is a problem. I don't know if it's Black fatigue. I think it's just bad behavior all around, and it's celebrated, and we have a lack of accountability. No one wants to speak up and speak the truth. I'm thankful for the people that I see here that are speaking the truth, but we have to get it out more because we're supposed to be the light of the world. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to stomp out all of this darkness. And right now, what you see is the elevation of continued bad behavior. Every time I look on X, if I go on YouTube, if I go on any social media, you're seeing just excessive bad behavior. But I think it's even more celebrated within the Black community. And as we all agree, it's a small subset of the entire community, but it's so elevated, it looks like everyone is involved in it. And no man is an island. That's something my dad always used to say, and I 100% agree. So now it's spilling out in other places, where I told you when we spoke this week with Minister Denzel, how I'm watching a Black man was upset because the white woman moved a certain way, and he literally had her on the floor, punching her in the face excessively for no reason. And people are just videoing it. And he's like, that's what we get. We're in power now. There's no and no one is checking him, no accountability, nothing. People, like Minister Denzel said, they are just using it to increase their viewership. I'm watching children on the school bus. So they're watching this behavior from the adults, and we're supposed to be the people that are leading the future, right? And they're watching this behavior, and then they are now emulating that same behavior when you see them in the school, in the playgrounds. They are beating each other up. They're acting like they have no home training. And, it's easy because I told you this on Tuesday, Wise, when I said, it's easy sometimes to be like, you know what, let me just move from here because I'm not associated with that. And I don't want to have to explain that type of behavior. But we really do have to call out the bad behavior, regardless of if, like, I've been called mammy and bootlicker and all them other names because I say I don't agree with it. We have to get back to the truth, which is we don't put God back in the middle of all of this.
That's right.
We are just going down a horrible, horrible hole that I am afraid to see what the next 10 years will be like if people can't get their behavior together.
Yeah. Aaron, you were shaking your head in there. I want to get you in there. And I do have a question. Are we not allowed to call out bad behavior when we see it? I've had people in the comment section when we did this show on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember which one. The days kind of run with each other. But I had someone in the comment section come out and was like, here you are talking about this stuff, in front of everybody. My question is, one, are we not allowed to have a conversation about it? And two, if not us, who and then when?
Okay, here it is. I don't know, we know we got World Star, we got Shade Room, and all these sites that they play videos from 5-10 years ago with fights at weddings, two big stinking women fighting in Walmart, tearing each other's bonnets and wigs off.
Okay.
I don't know. I know I listen to people that talk to that. I speak to that. You understand? I don't give nothing a pass. If it was just like when I was growing up, if I did something wrong, my father punched me dead in the mouth. He might have not did it in public, but when I got home, I was getting punched in the mouth. You understand? And that's the approach that I take to it. So I don't give nothing a pass. If Neely Fuller said the best place to be when the cops show up, you weren't there. I don't know what happened. I was there at 2:00. The fight started at 8. I was already home. So don't ask me nothing. I don't like the fact that we're allowing this thing that's hitting the algorithm in different places like this. They doing the same exact thing. I can pull up. For every video you can pull up of degeneracy in the Black community. I can pull it up. I can pull up a video of white folks doing the same thing, but sometimes even worse. Now, we don't give nothing to pass here in the grassroots. We don't give nothing to pass. When you acting goofy and you doing goofy stuff, we gonna call you out on it. So I don't know what people are listening to. Maybe you're listening to one side and not listening to the other. But we call you got men like Professor Black Truth, the Black Authority. You got my man Tariq out in California. They call this stuff out, and they give. The thing about it is, if I'm calling you out on something, I have to at least give you the game to rectify the behavior.
Man,
I was on the train one day. I live here. I'm in Brooklyn, New York. I'm in New York. I was on a train one day. This was some years ago, and a young fellow, somebody we would call a YN today, we made eye contact, and it started going left because he was really and he had his thing on him, and I knew he had his thing on him. But you know what I did? I disarmed him with my mouth and my mind. I knew the energy because I was ignorant like that.
Yeah.
And he was ready to blow his thing. And it was a thing just from eye contact. By the time that young man got off that train, he wanted to hug me, and I could see the water welting up in his eyes. Because I disarmed him, but I gave him something what I took from him, I gave him something back.
Amen.
And when he got off that train, he was calling me sir, and I could see the water in his eyes. So when we quick to say, I don't want to be around that behavior, I don't want to be, nobody wants to be around bad behavior if you got some sense. But we can't, there's people out here that need help.
That's right.
Are we gonna help them? I can get up here all day, just like we know it's race hustlers that use that race bait. Oh, these white people doing this, they doing that, doing it. Yes, that is a hustle, but it's also a hustle on the other side where you got black folk that get up here and talk about all the goofy stuff that happened, all of the degeneracy that happened. That's a hustle too, because you got white folks that will paper you up through cash apps or whatever and make your stuff go viral and you blow up.
And black folk.
Now what's happening, what you see happening now is A lot of these people are getting so emboldened that they don't need black mouthpieces no more to talk for them so they can hide behind. You seen that happen with Jason Whitlock, with Nick Fuentes told him you ain't nothing but a token. Now, you always got smoke for black folks. You got all the smoke for black folks. Soon as Nick Fuentes said that, he punked down like a coward. Oh, I don't care if he's racist. You know, we could have a conversation. Man, have a conversation for what? He told you you're a token. I don't need you to talk for me. So you got your Negro wake-up call. But you went out like a punk. The first thing you tried to hide, but you tried to hide behind. And I'm not disrespecting nobody on the panel. I know y'all are good Christian people, and I love y'all for that. But the first thing he did, he took the punk way. He started, Jesus, loves all of that. But see, you didn't have no smoke for him. He told you ain't nothing. But you'll get on your platform and talk all day. Every video you put on YouTube is about talking down to your people. When your people need help, there's people out here need help, man.
Great.
I'm sorry if I'm too passionate.
Nope. I
Can I
love that, man.
can I respond to that?
Yes, please go ahead.
Go
And then
ahead.
Jason, I want you to
So
get in there. But before one thing, I got a super chat I want to read real quick. Shout out to my guy Jeff over at It's Not Your Fault, Al-Anon Recovery Channel. He says, no fathers, male role models in black homes is tantamount to bad behavior, but that's across the board. No dad in the house will affect any child's behavior negatively. Thank you for the $11 super chat. Get in there, Mika. And Jason, you go.
um So a lot of the things that he did say was correct, but also a lot of the things that he said also are missing a little context. And I want to just touch on a few points. So you were talking about something, I guess, equivalent to like the black grift, right? Because there's a grift. Let's just be clear. There's a grift on YouTube, period, right? If they see something moving, they're going to jump on it. All right. The left does it, the right does it, yada yada. However, um, there is a sincere movement with people of color just calling out a lot of the things. And you said you call out things, but there's a difference to me with calling it out and then saying that you won't tolerate it. Because if and this is just my opinion, if I'm going to call out, let's say, someone that as a woman I'm thinking is of that type of ilk, let's just say that, because I don't know what to say on your platform, so I'm gonna keep it light, is doing certain things. Okay, if I'm standing too close to her, I'm probably going to get associated with that. If I dress like that, I'm probably going to get associated with it, regardless if I'm like that or not. So the reason why I say it like that is because all the time you will see black folks in secret say, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. But you won't say anything and you won't stand on it. It's almost like the tribalism would be like, well, if I say something about it or if I stand on it, then my tribe won't like me anymore. Because I can tell you right now, I get so many people, especially black people, that will come into my DMs like, yeah, I agree with you. I just can't say it. And I'm talking about celebrities, I'm talking about politicians, all of that. People you would never think. And it's because they can't say what they really want to say in fear of their own race giving them backlash for holding them accountable for what's hurting them. So if you can call it out, you can also say, hey, if you're not willing to do this and this to advance what we have going on, then you're not a part of us. But for some reason, and this is what I was kind of hinting at earlier, but for some reason, that's not the case. It's always seen as, coon, this, that, and the third, madman, pick me, all of these things. And then lastly, you said something about talking down. in order to give somebody truth and understanding, you have to tell them the truth. For some reason in the Black community, it's hate and talking down. And we tried to say, well, you know, nobody's better than somebody else. In my opinion, yes, there are. There are others that are better than others, and they can be the teachers. But it's looked at always as a negative instead of a positive. And that's some of the context that I think, you know, living in this society where it's supposed to be diverse, but it's definitely not. Growing up in a mixed race household, I definitely saw that in a post, you know, civil rights, I guess, era, it's definitely separated. One side doesn't know the other. And they sit there and go back and forth on what they think they know about the other side.
I love it. Thank you, Mika. Thank you, Mika. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the brother. I like when he comes on. I enjoy his insight, and I apologize. It's Aaron, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I apologize for that. I'll make sure I remember next time. I always appreciate your insight in that right there. Couple quick things. You use the whataboutism, you know, you can show me a video for every white person fighting for every Black person I would show. And I agree with that. But you wouldn't be able to show me white people actually promoting that type of lifestyle. And I use the example on my show, like if there's a trailer park about a quarter mile from my house, I don't see any of my white neighbors to the left or the right of me promoting and supporting what goes on in the trailer park a mile and a half from my house. But we know that that's what we do. We talk about the ghetto. We esteem the ghetto. We elevate it to dang near close to heaven. But that's a problem. You don't see white people do that, or other people groups really do that. Now, I'm sure there's a little segments, but as an overall package, when you talk about Black culture, you talk about what's going on in the hood. Very rarely is it the highly educated, two-parent home, stable home. You don't see that. That's not what they say when they talk about Black culture. We talking about the hood, the YNs. Shoot me an email, brother, because I cannot see that. I ain't got my glasses on.
Yeah, I can't see it
my
either.
coffee ain't been that strong yet. So, but the whataboutism, I think we should not do that. And I said in my opening salvo, I don't care what the white people are doing. My neighbors across the street do not wake up in the morning saying, dang, Jason is awake today. They don't care. They're not thinking about me. This is a Black problem that we need to have an honest conversation with the highly melanated community about the things that we promote. And Mika just said it. And that's the last part that I want to talk about. Calling something out and standing against it are diametrically different. I have daughters. They do not wear their bonnets downstairs in this house. You can't wear your bonnets, and they barely can wear their pajamas downstairs. And God have mercy on your soul if you walk into the garage. Okay, it's a wrap. They know that because why? Dad is vehement against bonnets and pajamas and slides. So my 17-year-old, she's in this rebellious thing now. So she calls herself being slick, trying to take out the trash, can't wear her bonnet. And she knows look, I don't care if you didn't take the trash out. Your life is in jeopardy because you wore that bonnet out in my garage. So, because I stand against it. So, you know, and my wife will never let him get in the car. It's a wrap. So we don't just call out bonnets, pajamas, and slides. We stand against bonnets, pajamas, and slides. If their friends come around, baby, we don't do that. Not here, Whitaker Park. We don't do that. So it's very clear. So we need that equivalent here where we tell the young bloods as men, bro, we don't do that. That's not how we promote ourselves. We can't further our community and the Black experience and people's perception of Black people with you behaving in that manner. That's it. So I don't think it's an issue of somebody's calling them out and they're getting paid to call out. No, it's just not acceptable. And most of the time you hear this from people who themselves don't live in the hood. They themselves don't live in the projects, and they sitting there berating me. I ain't never lived in the projects. And so because I ain't never lived in the projects, I can't speak on it. Come on now, that's not even fair. That's not even reasonable. And so giving a fair assessment of a situation, I don't think is wrong. And I'm going to end with this. Philippians 4:15, speak the truth in love. I love my brothers and sisters. I love my daughter's friends that try to come around here. And I love them so much that I'm going to tell them we don't do bonnets and pajamas up in here. So don't come around here with no bonnets and pajamas. They tell them, yeah, don't come around my dad in bonnets and pajamas. I don't like seeing him when I drop him off at school. Why are you wearing that? What's your mama let you walk out? They know it. Mr. Whitaker gonna fuss at me in the parking lot at school if I'm acting crazy. God have mercy, I see the Kroger. So my point is, but they know that I love them. They know that I care about them and I want the best for them. And I want them to have the best experience in high school, the best experience in life, apart from the foolishness and shenanigans. But when you put a doggone magnet on yourself to collect foolishness and shenanigans to attract ignorance, I can't do much for you. So that would be it, Aaron. So I hope that made sense. And I really do always, I want to make sure that I say I respect your opinion and I do appreciate your insight.
Before you go, Minister Denzel, I got a question. You're seeing more and more white people emboldened enough to get out here, in these internet streets to talk about this, which I would say, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it'd be less likely to have these types of conversations. I'm sure they had already been having these conversations behind closed doors or, at home or when they're in their, in their own element. But for them to get out there, like you mentioned, Aaron, and Nick Fuentes, he's kind of been rowdy for a little minute.
Wow.
He's been out there for a while now. But do you think that the Jasmine Crockett's of the world, and their rhetoric, the Ilhan Omars of the world who go out there and say that, white people are the biggest threat, to this country, do you think it's their rhetoric and a lot of rhetoric that you hear from the left, specifically, a lot of these people out here that are saying that the white people is evil, this, so forth and so on. Do you think that type of rhetoric is now emboldening white people to say, we got to fight fire with fire? Chris, I want you to go there, and then Crystal, I want you to get in there. Minister Denzel, we'll let you go after that. You're muted.
When I grew up, my father had a saying that stuck with me, and that was, if you're around trouble, you're in trouble. When I got home and, when something happened and, there a bunch of people got caught doing something, he would ask me, were you there? I'm like, yeah, but I didn't do nothing. I was like, he said, if you're around trouble, you're in trouble. So you either extricate yourself from the situation, get out, or you're going to be lumped in with everybody else. And I liken that to a broader, conversation about societal norms and what you mentioned, the fact that, calling out something and standing against something are two different things. And as a society, both white and black, just as an American society, we used to have societal norms that certain behavior was unacceptable. It was shunned. It was shamed. It was, it was called out. It was stood against. Society in general said, no, we're not doing this. Now, for I think a whole host of reasons, the lack for a better word, called the devolution of black culture has happened a lot faster than the devolution of white culture, but they're both happening. Make no mistake. Black two-parent, black, intact households 60 years ago was 75%. It's dropped into the low 20s now. The whites at the same time were less. They were at 60, I think they were 68. They were less than intact black households. They've also declined, just not as fast. So because of what, has been fed to, the black society in general, and I think a lot of it has to do with what has been, fed in their schools and what's been fed in music and other things that pervade that a little more than it does white culture. It has caused the steeper decline. But in either case, it's the lack of cultural norms. Even when, homosexuality was legal in America, for a long time, it was not considered acceptable. Or if you did it, you did it in private. You did it in secret. Nobody needed to know. Nobody needed you living out loud and proud about your depravity. And instead of shaming and standing against depravity across American culture, because I think of a lot of factors, CRT being one of them, and then the co-option of that by the Marxist elements in our society that want to rip it apart, we have stopped shaming and standing with cultural norms and started embracing the depravity. And so it's become a serious problem that, we've got a level of critical mass that if we don't shift it now, you mentioned in 10 years, I hate to see what this thing looks like in 10 years. In 10 years, it will be 100 times worse. And that's because as a society, we've stopped maintaining social norms. We were out during prom season, just me and my wife, 2 occasions. Once we were on a date, and the other time we were at a dinner during my mother's funeral. And it was prom season. And I watched the dresses that these girls walked in. White, Hispanic, Black, all the above. And I looked at my sister and I said, what would Dad have done if you walked downstairs in a dress like that? She said, oh, I never would have walked down in a dress like that, because I'd have not gone out of the house for 2 weeks. There'd have been no school, there'd have been no dates, there'd have been no fun, there'd have been nothing if I walked down in a dress like that. That was not going to happen. And so it was Dad who set the tone. It was Dad who set the standard. But it was dads all across the country that were setting a standard that maintained a general societal norm that we no longer have. This is why we celebrate some of this stuff. It's why it's not only is it put on YouTube, but it's not put on YouTube, some of these ridiculous actions to shame them and to call them out and say, this is not acceptable. It's put on there, but and some people lampoon it, but a whole host of society celebrate it. And that's I think where we've really gone off the rails.
Get in there, Crystal.
So what I will say is I agree with Chris 100%. I agree. Because some of these dresses are out of this world. I'm like, I could never. Now, I think you have the Jasmine Crockett's, the Ilhan Omar's, definitely. And then Nancy Mason and Marjorie Green Taylor said, listen, we have thoughts on these things too. But that goes back to no man is an island. It's not like you're keeping it within your house and in your little space. You're bringing it out into the world amongst everyone else. And the thing that I never understand is, why is it okay for our white counterparts? It's okay for them to pander to us and sit in the space of that victim mentality, supporting us, trying to be the white savior for us, but they can't have the voice to point out when bad behavior is happening. It's a human thing. That's what I look at it. It's a human thing. And instead of us saying white people shouldn't be able to speak, if they see bad behavior, they should be able to be free to say what they need to say. I know you don't agree, Aaron, but again, bad behavior is bad behavior. I've seen white girls where I see them cutting up, and I as a Black woman, as a mother, because I am a mother first, if I see you acting up, I'm going to say, would your mother appreciate how you're behaving? I shouldn't have to stop and say, oh no, I'm a Black woman, I can't speak to these white girls for their bad behavior. That is the problem. That is why we've gotten to what we've gotten to today, because we are supposed to love each other just like God loves us. We're supposed to be out here loving our neighbor. That means telling the truth. It doesn't matter the race. We're supposed to tell the truth. The truth is not always going to be nice, but the truth is real. So we have to keep it real. If we see bad behavior, we shouldn't stop and say, a white person seeing a young Black girl in a position that she's not supposed to be in, she's not supposed to stop and say, oh no, I'm a white woman, I'm not allowed to speak, I'm supposed to keep quiet because she's Black. That's ridiculous. We're still human. And I think until we get back to the place of where community is not Black, it's not white, it's people. Until we get back to the space of being, this is America, we are all a community, we are all Americans, and we look at and see, we are not going to accept bad behavior, be it Black, be it white, be it Hispanic, be it Asian, whatever it is, and we speak up, we call it out. We're not going to stop and say, I'm going to wait for the Black people to speak to Black people, the white people to speak to white people, the Hispanic people to speak to Hispanic people, until we get back to doing what God called us to do, which is be a light for everyone. We will be in this position. We need to be able to speak up. And listen, every time I get on to TikTok and I'm on these panels, and some of my white brothers and sisters get up on the panel and they call out some Black bad behavior, and anyone Black comes for them, oh, I'm coming right back for them. They have the right to speak, because if it is crossing into their space, they have the right to speak. So I don't think that it should be, honestly, Wise, I always say, I don't think this should be a Black thing, a white thing. This is a human thing. This is good being seen as evil and evil being seen as good. And if we don't step up and switch it back, we are in so much problems.
Absolutely
Exactly.
right. Chris, I know
Truth is truth, regardless of who's speaking it. Wise, I got to run. Thanks so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Love seeing you all. Everybody have a great weekend. God is good, and we'll see y'all later.
Hey, Chris,
Amen.
check
all
the
right. Thanks, Chris.
Bye.
Take care, man.
God bless you, brother Wise. I think
Before you go, Minister, let me read Dear World Christians super chat real fast. Thank you, Jason, for the $5 super chat, man. I have unequal weights and measures fatigue. We all can and should call out mess. Great conversation, Wise. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Get in there, Minister Denzel.
Yeah, I appreciate all that's being said here. I really appreciate you guys, and I thank you, brother Wise, for having this kind of talk. We need to do more of this, and as I said before, I hope you can set up one that we can just work on the solution issue. But brother Aaron's made a very important point in this conversation. You talked about how a young man, he was strapped, had a very aggressive disposition, and he was able to de-escalate it by his words. I think that was brilliant. That's very important to understand. The two sides of this issue: there's the side of the deprived behavior, and there's the side of how do we respond to it. And we must understand that the response must be wise and appropriate. Let me just talk about the response aspect of this. You can, there are only two ways really to respond to this. You could respond by de-escalating it, which is what Brother Aaron pointed out, which I think was brilliant. I've done that myself. But the other side, you need to know when not to say anything and get the police involved, because some folks can only be dealt with behind bars. Are you listening to me? So the Bible says, and I think it's Proverbs 3:9 says, that in all your ways acknowledge him and he'll direct your path. We need to be very wise about how we deal with this situation, because if we inappropriately deal with any situation like this, it can only make it worse. Our goal is to make it better, right? So, and every situation is unique. You know, there are times when it's appropriate to step to a brother and encourage them, and there's a time to be quiet, call the cops, call 911. So my point is that we as believers, we're the lights of the world. They're not the light. These people are in darkness, and they're suffering from depravity. And it's much of it is from not being properly groomed and not being properly taught, because they lack the proper parental so we have to become parents to some of these people. So there's a process involved with this, but that's in long term. When we're talking about immediate action, we have to use wisdom, and everything that was said here is true in its place. So we have to just know when the right time is to do what we do. And we cannot let the popularity of depravity become a fatigue factor. Hey, are you listening to me? Yeah, it's crazy out there. People are running buck wild, crazy, and it is profitable. We can't deny that. It is profitable. But our goal and our responsibility as believers is to evaluate carefully and to use God's wisdom to do the best we can to be a solution to the situation and not a problem. So that's why I think these kind of conversations are so important. And Brother Aaron, I appreciate you. I really do appreciate your insight, but I appreciate all the insight of others that are here and what's being said. We have to take all of the best of everything, and you have to understand that everything has its own specific situation. And that's why it's so important for us to have God's wisdom in the whole thing. So I just want to make that clear, is that you can make the wrong move and make matters worse by applying the wrong solution to the situation. And I'm sure that everybody here agrees with that.
Shout out to Champ75A with the $10 super chat. It says, if I need to mow my lawn, but my neighbor's yard is worse than mine, should I just not cut my grass? Okay. I think I got the gist of that.
I can
Jason,
explain
if you
it.
want to answer that. Yeah, go.
No,
for it.
I totally get it. He's saying like, look, I need to take care of my yard first. Now, I think a continuance of that is my neighbor like an elder that maybe doesn't have anybody there, maybe ran on some hard times, they can't pay their landscaper. Should I break my landscaper off a little bit to take care of their lawn after they do mine? I don't know, but my grass needs to be cut because the HOA gonna come and put that sign on my door. They might put it on theirs, but they don't come. I'm concerned about my house first and then others. Go ahead.
I got a question and this is for all of you guys. And let's talk a little bit about solutions. I mean, obviously everybody has kind of beat this particular topic up. Obviously it's trending out there. You have white people, black people, and everything in between having this discussion. But let's talk solutions. Is there any policy, practice, or a cultural shift that you guys would like to see to kind of help bring this down, to reduce this, what people are calling quote unquote black fatigue. We'll start with you, Aaron, but is there anything that you feel like can be implemented from a policy, practice, or just a cultural shift in general?
Right now, right here in the state of New York, we're working. I work closely with my man Divine Prince from the Freedmen's Project, and they're working feverishly with New York State Kathy Hochul Reparations Commission, and that project is just not about reparations. It's also about the aggregation of bills and different legislation to get some help out here. I'm trying to I'm in the process now of trying to start something to reach out to some of these youths and things like that. So I live in the hood. I live in the hood, in the projects. So I'm close. I have what they call boots on the ground. I'm very close to it. So I see the need for certain things, and I'm doing what I can to reach out and try to get some help to some of these young folks, because they're gonna be the future. And but for a moment, I'd like to, the young sister that brought up Jasmine Crockett. What's her name?
Jasmine Crockett.
That little stinking chick. Yeah.
Crackhead.
Let me explain something, y'all. With them, that's something from the left, from the Democrat Party, that she's pushed out there to appease the street and the grassroots. That's why she does all that sassy head shaking and all that dancing and all that. That don't move no ice with us. So let me say that first of all. That don't cut no ice with us. All that's performative. We don't care about none of that. We know when somebody is from the soil. We know. She's not. To the young lady, I think her name is Crystal. I was shaking my head when you said that, not because I was in total disagreement with what you're saying. The reason why I was shaking my head, because there's always a fine line with that. White folks, I don't care about them being fatigued. I really don't. Because guess what? We're fatigued. What all you have done, we're fatigued. So don't talk to me about fatigue. I don't care about how you look at us, because you're not the standard. But to your point, I do agree with you to some degree. However, to the brothers on here who have a wife, right? I want to ask you this. You might have a nickname for your wife, right? You might call her Nook Nook or Poop Poop or whatever the case might be. When you introduce your wife to one of us on the panel here, whatever like that, you're going to introduce us as her proper name. Now, being I know that you call her nickname, would it be proper for me to address her as Nook Nook or Poop Poop? It's in your mouth, because you are the person doing that. So in that context, in that frame, no, I'm not going to accept white people saying certain things about my folks. I'm not going to accept that, because it's not, just like it's not my affair to criticize, critique you and your people in your intimate dealings with each other or whatever. Don't come in my house telling me what to do with my folks.
Okay, I do have a counter to that, but I want to read super chat real fast. Thank you, Vonnie. LA23 says people are not quick to help because these parents are terrible, and I'm assuming they either didn't or don't. I'm thinking that's don't teach these kids to do better. It's no responsibility but their own. Accountable. Goodness, man, y'all got to work with me with this. The grammar, man.
I see what she's trying to say.
Accountability. I'm guessing accountability. Accountability is a drug. People
are so
upset not golly, man. I apologize. Y'all gotta help me out with the grammar, man.
If you
Goodness
need me
gracious,
to, man, I can read it, man.
but
I
if you
used to
could
be a school
translate
teacher.
that for me.
I
Go
can
ahead.
totally
Go
see
for
what
it.
she's saying. I'm gonna read it as I understand it. Starting here. It's no one's responsibility but their own. Accountability is a drug people are so upset to not take. And shout out to her. I know she's also
Thank
probably
you.
trying to fit it into the
into
character
that
space
little.
too.
Okay, I got it.
I got
And
you.
shout out to the school teachers, man, because I'm sure you guys have seen some things. You're like, y'all gotta translate.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. But there was another one too, Wise. I think
there
there
was one more.
that came
Okay,
up as well.
yeah. Shout out to Champ75A. What I mean is, if we're looking for examples for irresponsible behavior to excuse our own, our grass will remain in its current state. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And to counter Aaron, last time I checked, we all live in this country. We all are Americans, and yeah, we are. I guess we are somewhat, I guess, separated, quote unquote, by the amount of melanin that we have. But for the most part, we all live amongst each other, especially if you live in the Northeast to an extent. I know around here we all are living around each other. A block to two. My neighborhood is completely diverse. I'm sure Mika's is very, very close to that. Although I think you're a little further south than I am here in Maryland. But we all are Americans, and we're all having to deal with that. We're all in the same restaurants. We're all at the same grocery stores. We're all experiencing the same foolery. So to say that, because they look a certain way, that they don't have the ability, or they should not be able to speak out against it, but it's happening in their neighborhoods, in the stores that they shop at, in the restaurants that they go to, things of that nature.
In that Lululemon, man.
Yeah, the Lululemon and all these other different places. So this is happening in America, and no different than us. If we saw, when we see, ratchet behavior that's happening, in white communities, or if there's, white folks that's happening at the grocery store, we'll say it. I know every last one of you guys have seen some little bad white kid in the store and looked at him and like, oh, heck no, man, somebody need to whip his tail. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like if we're all living amongst each other as Americans in America. You know what I'm saying? We are, this is our country, and we are essentially the same people when you think about it in the grand scheme of the international scale, right? Mm-hmm. And if you see it, you should have the ability to say, man, I don't agree with this behavior.
So
go for it, Mika.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So no worries. So you're exactly correct. And I was actually going to, use myself as an example, but you cover that. But here's the thing. Outside of America, yes, there are, issues with certain things that are similar to America, but I've noticed that this particular, the white and black thing, is definitely a American problem. And it seems to be exacerbated here, right? There are other countries that have it. My father is Latin American, okay? And in Cuba, it doesn't matter if you're a white Cuban. It doesn't matter if you're a black Cuban or a mixed Cuban, okay? At the end of the day, everybody's Cuban. And it's something like in America, it seems like you don't want to come together under that sense. You don't want to come together under the sense that, America has all different types of races. Because this is not a novel idea. There are people sitting on islands with all different kinds of races. So with that aspect, why isn't it just about having respect for other people? Because I know when I was growing up, you could walk down the street and somebody else would tell you what you were doing wrong. And then would go tell your parents.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out why isn't that the standard, whether they're white or black? Because I grew up in DC. I live in Maryland now, but I grew up in DC. And I can tell you right now, in the early 2000s, DC was majority black. My family stood out like a sore thumb. And I've never seen my white family members say, "Hey, you can't say anything to my daughter." No, it's if you see her doing something, you say it, you call it out. And for sure, my parents didn't have any problem with telling anybody, black, white, or third. So what I'm saying is, our why don't we look at our communities that way? Because whether you're in an all, mono community, whatever race it is, or you're in a diverse community, we have to all live there. Why don't we look at the country like that as a whole?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the thing is that when you step out of this country, your accent will tell everyone outside of the nation you're an American,
Your
regardless of what you look
passport
like.
and your
Your
culture.
passport will, but even if they can't see your passport, soon as you have a conversation with someone, immediately the first thing out their mouth is you're an American, not you're a black American or white American. And the reality of it too is that when you get outside of this place, you actually you have more in common with a white American than you do with somebody that would be black from another nation. If you found yourself in that situation, I've experienced this, myself as someone who has traveled a lot. So we have the situation that we have. It's really kind of a first world. We have it really, really good American problem that we can now, discriminate against each other the way that we continue to do so based off of how much melanin we have. But get in there, Jason. Oh, before you go, one second. I got a couple super chats I want to read and then go, Jason. Shout out to Epiphany Tanya. Thank you for the $10 super chat. She says, let's push for policies that incentivize marriages, mentorship, discipleship, and fatherhood. Bring back community urban programs, Big Bro, Big Sister program, missing volunteers. And let's see what else she says. More need to step up to mentor. I agree with that 100%. And shout out to Eric Smith with the $4 or $5 super chat. He says, hi, just checking in for my 15-minute break. This guy doesn't sound quite right and don't support the freedmen. Just another race hustling group. Okay. Wow. I'm going to let you respond to that, Aaron, here in a second. And shout out to Vonnie LA 23. He says, Mr. Aaron, you're wrong for saying that. No one should say anything about your people. So this is why you shouldn't get mad when people don't want to help. Okay. We'll let Aaron, hey, these are two kind of pointed directly at you. Eric Smith, white guy, Vonnie LA 23, looks like black guy. Both disagreeing with your sentiment, or black lady. Sorry about that, sister. What say you?
Can I ask Aaron?
Yeah, go for it.
Why you gonna go ahead and answer the other questions? Could you explain to me also what a tether is?
A tether is a behavior. The term is aimed at people melanated people from foreign countries outside of America, mainly Africa and the Caribbean, that undermine what we got going on here in Black America. It's not just because you're from Africa or the Caribbean that you're automatically a tether. That's not it. The tether is a behavior. And for instance, we got the what is that? Is it the Congressional Black Caucus? What is it? 60? How many members are on the Congressional Black Caucus? It's about 50 or 60 of them, right? Mm-hmm. But only 13 are Black Americans. The rest of them are African and Caribbean. Mm. And they work diligently to undermine anything that for our progress. Those are tethers. That's what would be considered a tether. I hope that answered your question. Ma'am, did I answer you?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to know before I speak.
It's not just
a certain way on it. But
yeah, it's not.
Just to clarify, there's 62 members currently in the CBC Congressional Black Caucus.
Right. Only 13 are Black Americans. So this is why we can't get nothing done from them. Them or the NAACP, because most of those people are from foreign nations. So they're not interested in helping Black America. Now, to try, I want to, because my mind works so fast. Those two super chats, I got to answer them, right, Wise? I have to answer them.
Yeah, please. Yeah, if you could.
So one said, help me out with this, Wise. One said, what?
I'll read it. I'll go back and read it one more time.
Okay.
For you. Let's see here. It says, it says, this one right here. It says, guy doesn't sound quite right and don't support the freedmen, just another race hustling group. And then Vonnie, LA23 said, Mr. Aaron, you're wrong for saying that no one should say anything about your people. So this is why you shouldn't get mad when people don't want to help. And then before you go, I have one more super chat. Thank you, Epiphany Tanya. Okay, the minister made a great point. We need wisdom when speaking up. Do I speak? Just pray, get help, or call cops. These people are crazy. Please be careful. All right. So go for it.
Okay. Y'all be patient with me, because I'm not used to this. Here we go. About the race hustling, the freedmen being all the freedmen is a status. And we're trying to get that federally recognized once again. That's all that is. It's not about race hustling. I don't get a dime for what I do. Not a dime. I don't ask nobody for nothing. No PayPal, no cash, nothing. I don't ask nobody. So to call me a race hustler, you sadly mistaken. As far as people I'm not saying, if you listen to what I said, I'm not saying anyone outside of Black people can't say anything to Black people. What we see happening now is this. We're seeing from white society, because there's a fear there right now happening in white society with their birth rates and different things like that. And there's a desperation right now coming from them. And they want to, what's happening, you see a lot of this hate and stuff spewing online or whatever. What you see is some of these people are trying to normalize the dehumanization of Black society. This is why that white woman cursed the little boy out in the park up in Minnesota the other day and called him the N-word. And she got over $500,000 for doing it. This is what I'm talking about when you overstep bounds saying things. I'm not saying that people can't have critiques of the community. That's not what I said. And that's not the points that I'm trying to make. Yeah, we can say certain things, but there's a cutoff point to this. And the reality of it is, yes, we're all Americans and like that, but there is a line you can cross. And I tend not to cross those lines when they come to other people. I can deal with mine. I don't know really the experiences to deal with your community in depth like that. You have to do that. Just like we have to get our community in order, and there's a certain cutoff point to that. So, but let me say this, because I might not get another chance to speak. White people ain't really fatigued with us. Don't ever think that, because right now, as you've seen in the chats, they are following us. They are really infatuated with us. They're enamored with us. They want to know what we're doing, what we eat, why we didn't vote, why we vote. They got white folks giving classes for the line dance we're doing. So they've always been infatuated with our culture and what we're doing. So all that about they fatigued and they tired of us, no, they're not, because they in this chat right now, some of them, and you go on the X Spaces, they're in those chat rooms. So really, how tired of us are they? That's all that's cap.
Well, I don't know if it's cat. And before you go, Crystal, and I'll let you go. I would say as a Black person, I am tired of seeing a certain demographic of people act a fool, and then when you call it out and say something, they clutch their pearls like, please don't say anything about us, and definitely don't say it, say this about us in front of these good white people. You know what I'm saying? It's that mindset that bothers me. And I'm sick and tired of it. I'm fatigued of the ignorance that I see out here. Being out right outside of Baltimore City, you see it and you hear it all the time. This city is 70+% black. So I live around black people, but the neighborhood where I live, because I live in the county, it's a little different. But I'm not far away from the city, and I'm sick and tired of it. Now, the other thing that I'm really sick and tired of is I'm sick and tired of. I think somebody had mentioned this earlier, but I'm fatigued with liberalism and what it puts out there and their agenda. I am really fatigued with that, and unfortunately, we have a lot of black people. And especially, you got 90%. Some of you sisters, I'm sure you guys are part of the 8%, but I'm fatigued with that. So my question to you, Aaron, is, and Crystal, I want you to get in here. What do we do? You know what I'm saying? Because if we can't talk about it, we have people out here that they're 100% in lockstep with the foolishness. What are we supposed to do about it? Go, Crystal. I know you had something.
That tether thing, as a Caribbean American woman, I'm going to tell y'all, as a Caribbean American woman, because my parents are from the islands, my grandparents. The thing is, when a lot of Caribbean people come to America, a lot of Africans that come to America, because I have friends that are Nigerian, they come here, and they're coming for better opportunity. I've heard the stories growing up, but again, the beautiful thing is forgiveness is key. But I heard a lot of stories of how Black Americans treated a lot of the Caribbean and African people that came over here. They didn't want, there was like a separation. So I feel like in that aspect, there should be healing, because if there's healing, then we could all work together. That's number one. Number two, I think that across the board, we just have to get to a point of fixing the issues. White people are not infatuated with us. It's not that white people are infatuated with us.
Yes, they are.
White people, no, they're not. I have white people in my community, and they just love on, we love on each other. It's not about black, it's not white, we just love at each other. We're not looking at each other. You're black, you're white, you're Hispanic. We just love on each other. I appreciate the things that they do, just like they appreciate the things that I do. Aaron, oh my goodness, I'm trying. I really want you to understand that.
I love it.
Listen, let me go back. I said to Wise one day, the biggest generational curse in the Black community is unforgiveness. And I'm going to tell you why it's unforgiveness. Because we continue to keep talking about something that a good 100% of us probably did not go through. We did not go through it. And we continue to keep pushing this narrative over and over again. And we're pushing it down from generation to generation. That's why these kids, they don't even understand racism, but they're taught the racism. They're taught this. They come in here and now they are out here hating each other. And we could have fixed this situation a long time ago if we had said, you know what happened in the past? We forgive, we leave it in the past. Let's move forward. We can do so much more, but we continue to be in this space. Instead of us being neighbors to each other and being my brother's keeper, being there for each other, saying, you know what, I want you to know, Aaron, I was born and raised in Jamaica, Queens, New York. So I understand about living in lower poverty. I definitely understand. But the thing is, I also understand the white people that I would see, they didn't look at me like, oh, the little black girl. They wanted to see me rise up and do something great. They wanted better for me. I remember them telling my parents, this girl is going to be an amazing young woman. These are the things. So it's not about black, white. It's about being human. It's about being an American. I love what Mika and Wise says, because when you go outside of the United States, you're an American. It's not a matter of you're black, you're white, you're an American, and that's how they treat you. So I really want us to really get out of that headspace where people aren't allowed to speak to you, where people aren't allowed to correct you. That is why the light that we're supposed to be in the darkness, the light is being dimmed. We're putting a lamp, a cover over our light, because we're saying you're not allowed to speak to those people because they look different. And if they over there speak to us, we are not supposed to listen to them because they're white. No, they're black. No, they're this. And no, again, forgiveness is key. I wish the Black community, and why asked that question before, what can we do? We need to get back. we need to forgive and stop with you owe me this, you did this to me. We need to get back to forgiveness, and we need to get back to finding our identity in Christ and stop with the black, white, Hispanic, and all that other stuff, because we're still people. When life is over, you step into heaven, there's not a black section, there's not a white section, there's not a Hispanic section, there is all of us, and we need to
Ain't
get
no ghetto in heaven.
there.
Amen.
You go. There you go. Bad behavior is bad behavior. I was on a live last night talking to a young white man, and he looked at me. He said, I feel like you're a second mother to me. Yes, because I'm going to tell you what a mother says. You're not supposed to be doing this. You're not supposed to be in this place. I agree with your mother. She's supposed to be praying for you because your behavior is out of order, and we need to get you where you need to be. That is the type of things you're supposed to be doing as adults, because we're supposed to be walking in wisdom. So I want all of us to not be in this space of division all the time. I land my plane.
Get in there, minister.
This is why I said earlier that we have to stop letting people dictate how we define things.
Right.
Acts 17:26 says, God has made of one blood all men for to dwell upon the face of the earth. And we have to stop allowing ourselves to think in terms of what we call race when it's actually just ethnicity. There is only one race, and that is the human race. We've allowed the enemy to train our thinking to think that we are different races, and there's no such thing. And people do stupid things. Races don't do nothing. There's only one human race. And again, this is programming, though. And we have to, as believers, remember, we're the lights of the world. We're going to have to start. I know it's not easy, because we're constantly exposing ourselves to 1,000 different things that are and that repetition sometimes gets ingrained in our thinking. We start talking and acting the way they trained us to act. I try to separate myself from what people are saying and how they're saying it, and I try to let the word of God dominate my thinking, so that when I approach something, I can more easily approach it from a biblical perspective. I see people light skinned, white. I know what they're called, white people, but they're actually human beings that have light skin. They're just humans. So if we think based on humanity, we're not forced to play into that so-called racial type dichotomy. We can deal with people on an individual basis. Now, there are groups of people that act crazy, yes, but we still need to understand that we're lights. Our job is to accurately identify the problem and biblically respond to it. We have to train ourselves, because I be quiet as kept. Many of us Christians are a part of the problem, because we feed right into the same kind of problem everybody else is doing, and the same kind of mistakes that they're making, the same kind of conversation that they're having. And we can't be the light if we're going to be drawn into that same mentality. All I'm saying is that we have to work on ourselves to be better, so that when we are confronted with these situations, we can respond with biblical wisdom, and we can erase the noise. We can help people like Brother Aaron, who's in the thick of it. Amen. And I can understand where he's coming from. We can't be alike to him if we use the same language. We have to really help, because I know his heart is right. I can see his heart is right. I listen to him, what he says. I know his heart is right. And if we're not the kind of life that he needs, he will remain there. He could be higher. He can be deeper. But I'm quite sure that he turned off by a lot of stuff he saw in the Christian church. So all I'm saying is, brothers and sisters, and I thank God for all your conversations, your comments. You guys have done a great job today. But I'm saying that please let us strive to understand why it's so important for us to be accurate in what we say, accurate in how we perceive things. And when we respond we can respond with the wisdom of God and really be a blessing to people. Because, Brother Wise, you asked earlier, what can we do? We have churches. We can talk to our pastors about setting up programs in our churches to actually cater to these kind of people. Go to the police department. Find out if there are any groups in the community who are actually dealing with this kind of thing, and become a part of that. Because the wisdom that we bring to the table, they can't bring. No matter how much they desire to do what's good for the community, without the divine word of God, without the knowledge of the word of God and the proper application of the word of God, they can't do as good as we can. So we need to be involved with all the things that they're doing.
All right. Before you go, Jason, super chat real fast. Sean Cross with the $5 super chat. He says Aaron is an unaware racist filled with deep-seated hate. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I don't know if Aaron's a racist. I mean, y'all might be being a tad bit hard. I don't know if he's racist. But if you want to speak to that, Aaron, I'll allow you to do so. And then Jason, you get in there.
For sure.
By the definition of the word, it's impossible for me to be a racist.
Thank you.
The definition of the word.
Thank you.
And this is what I mean by these people.
Hold on. Before you elaborate on that, what do you mean by the definition of the word? It's impossible for you to be a racist. What does that mean?
When you define a word, I don't control anything. I don't make decisions.
That's the definition, though.
You understand? I'm not in a position to do that. So, according to their definition,
But one is individual based, one is systemic.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Exactly. You got to.
One is on an individual level, one is systemic.
Yeah, because when you think about the word racist, I mean, what you're using, that's the CRT definition of racism.
Sorry.
Okay.
The actual definition of racism is a person who believes a particular race is superior to others, or a person with a prejudiced belief that one race is superior to others. So technically, as per the actual definition, Black people can definitely be racist. Black people can definitely be prejudiced. What you're talking about is the CRT definition of racist that they've, crafted, on these liberal college campuses out there. But I'll let you keep going.
Now, this person called me a racist, right? Said I'm a racist. I have racist views or whatever. Why is that? Because I have the gumption or the audacity to come up here and speak up on behalf of my folks. That's what makes me a racist. It makes me a racist because I won't allow this narrative to be put out by your folks to say one thing to demoralize my folks. So I'm a racist, right? Now, here's the thing, right? I want to address something somebody said about the church and people like myself. I come, I've been in the streets most of my life. Some of y'all probably can tell or whatever, but in my generation, I'm Generation X. We had been lost faith in the church because they outcast us. They shunned us. Right here in New York City, where the culture of hip hop was birthed, it was birthed from youth gangs.
Yeah.
This is what these kids were, as children, what we were talking about when they got on the mic and started spitting. That was pain from our reality. The church was not helping us with that. So this is why a lot of the pastors and stuff really couldn't, they didn't want to be bothered with us because they couldn't connect with us.
Amen.
Minister, I want to say maybe it's probably not a couldn't. It's probably more along the lines of wouldn't. It didn't fit their agenda or narrative.
Right. Minister Farrakhan was able to connect with us. There was pastors and reverends that I loved when I was young individually, but for the most part, we didn't really deal with the church.
Right.
You understand? If you go back to the 1971 riots in Attica Prison, New York, those brothers, when they were out there in the yard rioting, they requested for Minister Farrakhan to come to the prison. Elijah Muhammad didn't allow him to come. So they got Bobby Seals from the Black Panthers to go up there. There was nobody was calling nobody from the church.
No.
Now to the young lady, Crystal, don't take that tether thing to heart because it's nothing personal with that. I wish I could reach through the screen right now and just give you a big old hug. You understand? But don't take that as a thing where we putting that on Caribbean people or African people. As I explained to you, I tried to explain that's a behavior. The first time, now I grew up with some people from the Caribbean. When we were going to school, I never knew they were Caribbean until I went to their households and ate dinner with them after school, and I heard their grandmother talk. And I got home and I called my mother and Mom, can I stay for dinner? All right, as soon as you finish, come home. And when I got home, I said, Mom, what's curry goat? That's the first time I ever had curry goat. So we didn't know that they were different, a little different from us. We didn't know that. But we got along. Yeah, we said people come with this thing about how we treated people from the Caribbean, Africa. We call them booty scratchers and different things like that. let me tell you something. We grew up playing the dozens with each other. That was a way for us to give us some fortitude to deal with the racism that we were dealing with. That gave us a little strength when people would call us the N-word or say derogatory things to us. So that was a way we learned at an early age how to play the dozens. And we did that. We didn't know that we were going to hurt these people through generations, because some people are still hurt by that. You understand? There's so much that I could say about that, but I hope you understand that, Sister Crystal, that yeah, we a little different. We are melanated, but we a little different. Y'all got your own culture. We have our culture here. But if the love is, y'all still our cousins. We love you just the same.
Thank you. I got a couple super chats I want to read, and then I think, Jason, you had something that you wanted to get in, and I'll let you go, but let me read these super chats real fast. Shout out to Vonnie, LA23. She says, yes, well said, Crystal. You, Miss Crystal. I'm a Jamaican-American woman. All right. Shout out to Mythology Noir with the $20 super chat. Says, how come every time the Democrats are out of office, the media starts pushing polarization and race-based content? It's like the Dems aren't offering value, so they push disruption of peace to get back in office. We'll get to that question here in a second. Somebody might want to answer that question. Shout out to K-Row3. I didn't come to see a particular color person. I came to hear Christians speaking wisdom to our times. I wasn't raised to see skin color as identity. Thank you for the $5 super chat, K-Row3. Billy W says, don't react, learn to act in positive actions. And shout out to Sean Cross. I'm guessing with a response here. Sean Cross with the $5 super chat says, there's nobody my folks, but my family, sir. Okay. Thank you for the $5
Can I say
super
something
chat.
real quick, Wise?
Go for it.
You know, go ahead. I'll come back to that. Go ahead,
Okay.
Mr.
All right, Jason. Go ahead, Jason.
Absolutely, man. We were talking about what is a solution for Black fatigue or anything of that nature. And I appreciate the brothers who are talking about starting things, going to churches and starting things. I would even niche it down to even more than that. Just get involved with your kids' friends. Lots of my daughter's friends do not have a home situation like what we have here at Whitaker Park. And they really appreciate the fact that I care about them. So my daughter loves to say, hey, my dad was asking about you today, or my dad calls you his favorite, whatever. I just, whatever their name is, they're my favorite, that person with that name. And they like that. And that little small nuance allows them to see a little bit more about us, a little bit more about them. Little girl's Hispanic. I'm going to her graduation party. I said, because tell her TO's coming to graduation and I want some slap tacos. So they know I'm coming over to act the fool. Little girl, her mom is a vegetarian and she doesn't have a dad figure in her life. And I said, I have zero problem. I said, absolutely. Tell her I will be her dad. Absolutely. And she can call me her dad. She can say she's going to be going to school down the street around the corner from us. If she needs help with something, she can reach out to me as her surrogate father because she don't have a father figure. And those little small things that you demonstrate that you care and you're concerned about people around your community, I think really, really elevate and allow us, because really Black fatigue and all this stuff is really the fact that we don't know each other because we've isolated ourselves from each other. We segregated ourselves from each other. So I don't really know much about Brother Denzel. I don't know much about Crystal. So I'm just speculating. She got braids. I saw them girls fighting with the braids. Crystal must be like them. It's easy to do that. But once I learned, I didn't know anything about Crystal. She just shared a whole lot about her life right now. And so those little small nuances of caring enough about the people around you. I don't need a program to go knock on Barbara's door and say, hey, I see your grass isn't cut. Do you want my guy to cut your grass tomorrow? That's all. I don't need to have a program. Next thing, y'all know I'm a Presbyterian deacon and involved in my church community very much. And to the point that somebody said earlier about speaking to children when you see them outside misbehaving. So we got a family at our church and they got boys and they're white boys. And they're just growing up like weeds and they just do dumb stuff. Okay. They just do dumb stuff. And one day we have some sunshades on our courtyard. And because these boys have grown up so much, now they feel tall. And they are tall. I ain't gonna lie. They're big. So what are they doing? They're always jumping up, trying to touch the sunshades and hit the sunshades. There's just those big cloth shades like that. Well, they don't know, but we as the deacons have to worry about the fact that some of these sunshades have snapped and have ruined part of the building, shattered a piece of glass. And if they snap with another kid around there, that could be a problem. So one day I went out there, again, tall as a weed boy was out there, and he's taller than me. And I said, I had a conversation with him about it. Very, very respectful. Very respectful. I said, man, I'm glad that you're tall. I appreciate that. Take that tallness down into the basketball court, though. Stop touching my sunshades. He totally understood. We shook hands. We were all good to go. I walked back into the fellowship hall, and who's looking out the window? His mom and dad. And guess what they said? Jason, we appreciate you. We really wanted to see what was going to happen with that. They're white, and they didn't have any issue with it. How dare a black man talk to my kid or anything of that nature. They said, hey, we appreciate you caring enough about him to tell him about this, because we've been telling, he's been at the house touching the ceilings and all this kind of dumb stuff. And we saw him, and we were about to say something, but we saw you walk out there to him, and we just want to see what happened. And we see that he respected it. So my point is, care enough about the people around you. You don't have to go, to the hitherlands. Just deal with the ones right there in your house, right there in your community, and just engage with them. Engage with them. Let them know that I care about you enough to tell you to pull your pants up. I care enough about you to give you a detangling comb so you can take that bonnet off your head. I care enough about you to tell you the truth and allow the truth of this wisdom, hopefully rooted and grounded in the Christian faith, will help change and turn your life around and get you unfatigued, because you fatigue because you don't really know a lot about. Let's be honest, there's really a lot of stereotype stuff and segregation stuff that they don't know.
Yeah.
And so now they just gotten tired of watching it. So now they're just acting up. But I don't think they're really tired as much as they're just unsure, just like we are. That's it.
Yeah. Now, Jason, for you, you're in the Atlanta area. I grew up down there, so I know this. In Atlanta, in the metro, it's extremely segregated. Black people tend to live on one side of town. When I grew up down there, it was definitely like that. I think people do tend to live around each other, especially if you live north, a little more than it was back in the day when I grew up, because I graduated high school in '99. But it's to an extent still very segregated. All my family members, they still live down there. They still live out east. And if you know anything, about what's east,
they live in Decatur.
It's predominantly black folks.
Absolutely.
Now, although like New Decatur, like the city, they've kind of gentrified that a little bit, and it definitely needed it. But for the most part, in the South, it's like that. Up here, a little different, and that's a lot of the reason why when I moved here, I was like, man, this is a breath of fresh air. And this is a lot of reason why I want to raise my kids here, because I want my kids to be around, just around everybody. You know what I'm saying? So when they go into school, it's not school where I went to school at. I went to Redan High School, if you know anything about it.
I know exactly where Redan is.
I went to Redan High School. It's 99.9% black. You know what I'm saying? And the teachers, the principals, everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Grass is black.
Everything. So I didn't really experience being around white people like that until I graduated high school, joined the military, and then it was just almost the complete opposite, of the environment that I grew up in. So I think I do agree with you. I think a lot of it is that we just don't know each other like that, especially in some of the more southern states, because it is like that. People still live on one side of the town or the other, although that is starting to change. But I'll say this: no one, when we start to speak out against the foolery, the debauchery that we see in the community, a lot of us will get called tethers, even though you're not. I'm not a tether. You know what I'm saying? I don't come from a Caribbean background. I'm from the deep South.
I don't even know what those terms mean, so I don't actually care.
I'm familiar with it, and I don't really care. But I've heard the term, because anytime you go outside of what's acceptable in the community, you will get called a tether. Anytime you go outside of it. I've experienced it myself, and I'm not that. And I've seen it with other content creators out there that will speak against some of the foolery that's going on in the community, and people immediately assume you're a tether because of that. And it's just unfortunate. And honestly, I wish it was a term that would honestly just go away. But go ahead, Minister, and then Mika, you go.
I'm glad this is what I was talking about when I'm talking about words and terms that we allow people to create and then apply to different things. If you ever get a chance, look up a Thomas Sowell's talk on intellectuals and society. And then he talks about how intellectuals create these kind of dichotomies, push them on society, but they won't take responsibility for what happens as a result of it. I thought it was a brilliant talk. My point is that we have to stop letting people create words that we use, because if we use their language, we're going to be bound by their philosophy. Like, I get back to the thing of racism. I don't use the phrase racism anymore because it's a misnomer. It doesn't make any intellectual sense to me. If I am a human with only one human race, how can I possibly be a racist when we're all humans? You see what I'm saying? They created a philosophy around it that has us at each other's throats. I don't use those words. I try to use biblical terminology and stick to it so that they cannot manipulate me into their conversation. That's all I'm saying. But we have to love each other. Brother Jason, I'm grateful for you bringing up the point you made, because I was going to say that and I never did get around to it. So I'm glad that you brought that you want to deal with the people around you. You can deal with them. You don't need no group for that. You don't need no movement for that. And I've done that throughout my life. I've seen the transformation. I knew brothers who were gangbangers that I ministered to, and they came out and got saved, became Christians. I've seen this happen. This actually does happen when you apply yourself, when you love people, you respect people, when you get to know them. Amen. A whole lot can change. A lot of these people are in the condition they're in because they haven't had the right kind of people pointed to their life. Amen.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Before you go, Mika, I got a couple super chats I want to read. Then go ahead and get in there, Mika. Shout out to Jeff with the $11 super chat. He says the world needs to just go play golf. It's the great equalizer. It just shows how alike we are. A man after my own heart. You know I'm a big golfer, man. Man after my own heart. Shout out to Dion with the $10 super chat. She says some of us here are coming out of old mindsets, slowly shedding old ways of thinking. Let's have some grace as we lovingly challenge them to think differently.
Amen.
And thank you very much, Dion. I appreciate that. You're absolutely right. Amen. Get in there, Mika.
Excellent.
So if you see me looking down, it's because when there's talking points, I don't like to speculate on what somebody said, so I write it down. So excuse me for looking down. But the reason why I asked Aaron what a tether was is because, unlike the righteous perspective, I don't have a very savory channel, meaning I call out a lot of things, and I don't mince my words. I don't hold back on it. And so I see that verbiage a lot, right? I see tether. I see, you just want to be with the white man and such and such and such and such. The reason, that I brought it up is because there was a person in the chat that said, I had a tethered talking point, and that tethers relate more to white people than black people. So when they said that, it's something I heard. It's not that I said that, you said it. I just know you know more about it, right? But when they say that, it's mind-boggling for somebody like me, because I grew up on multiple sides. I literally come from two mixed race people. Okay. And so with that being said, I had a worldview on people up until I got out into the world and they tried to tell me what I am. And because I know who I am, I'm still fighting that fight as an adult, where there are multiple people wanting to tell me, well, so-and-so is going to see you as such, and so-and-so is going to see you as such. And so I don't give two about it, because I'm not worried about, just like you said earlier, right? You said something about you're not worried about how white people see you. I'm not worried about how others want to classify me in their little boxes, right? Well, you have a little melanin, so they're going to say that you're black. Okay, I don't care. I don't care about that, right? But because they do that, and I have a talking point that's different than theirs. Now I'm this, I'm that, and then this and that and the third. Right. And I think it does a great disservice because somebody like me, okay, I used to have friends that used to call me they're unfortunately, they're white whisperer because they would try to, I grew up in DC, they would try to understand something and they would be like, Mika, no, why they doing this? Right. And it's because it was like I said earlier, and I think it's Jason. Is it Jason? Yeah. Even Jason said it, uh, you're separate, right? And so I would find it hilarious, and I find it enthusiasm. I have enthusiasm about it with teaching people other things about somebody else. And I have a point I make all the time after I talk about the ratchetness in the politics and the ratchetness in the culture. Because my channel slogan is this is where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. I will talk about what's going on both sides, and then I'll tell you the truth about it, whether you like it or not. And so what I find is that when I talk to most people, especially when I talk to Black people, they can have, an opinion and a point on, white people and all of this. And I'll go to some of my family members that live in Virginia, and I'll tell them, there's a lot of white people that are in the same situation. And if you took out race and you wrote it down on paper, it is the same problems. It's the same situations, the same way feminism has affected the 92%. That's what I call them to keep YouTube friendly. The same way feminism has affected them that way, meaning the households are matriarchs, mother led. So when I talk, and I'm talking from having a household ran by men, my grandfather, my father, my great grandfather, up until a point in my life. Okay. And when I have that, regardless of white, Black, and the third, they don't understand that because they don't come from it. And so now it's, oh, I'm bashing women. So you have all these little things that that liberalism will make you think is a deterrent, or isn't good, or isn't something that can, lead the culture forward. And because I am part Black, I do want to see better, but I'm not going to act like I don't see what I see.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And
Well, the other
I've
thing too
had
is,
that
oh,
issue
go ahead, finish.
so much. And so I'll end it here. What I'm saying is as a mixed race person, I understand some people may say I'm in the club, may say I'm not in the club. However, regardless, I'm always going to stand on the side of accountability, because I think, well, I know you cannot fix something unless you know what you're doing. And unfortunately, a lot of the times it's not being told what's happening. So they keep doing it. They keep perpetuating the same thing. We can talk about solutions, but until everybody knows that this thing is a problem, the solution is just going to go right over their heads. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I find a lot of the times on my channel when, there are people from the outside.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think liberalism is I think the main proponent, of all of this. When you look at the behavior, when you think about where, majority of Black people live in America, we'll just talk about Black people, it's Democrat led. I would say almost 100%. I mean, if you think of a city that's, majority Black, it's going to be Democrat led with liberal, with the liberal talking points and liberal agenda. And you can see it implemented all throughout these communities. And yeah, these aren't safe places. The schools are terrible. The neighborhoods are dangerous. It's a ton of children being born out of wedlock. I mean, you can just go down the list there. So I don't even know if there is a solution, to be honest with you, because I think a lot of it's an agenda that's being pushed, And I don't think a lot of us really understand that for us as Black people in America, we've been the guinea pig. We are, we've been the guinea pig for, this Marxist socialist agenda to see if it would work. And now, as Chris had mentioned, now it's bleeding over into the rest of American society. And until we get that fixed, until we get people to reject liberalism, which really is just, Marxism, socialism, and their agenda, until we fix that, we're going to continue to have these problems. In these communities, and in all actuality, you're going to see it spread throughout other communities, and we're seeing it being exacerbated everywhere. And instead of people calling it out, because I guess you can't call it out. If you're Black, you're a tether. If you're white, you're racist. If you call it out, you know what I'm saying? That's the reality of it. If you're Black, you're a tether for calling it out. If you're white, you're racist for calling it out. I don't know if there is a solve, but I think Minister, you had something, or Aaron, go, one of you guys.
Okay. First thing I want to say is to your point just now you made, Wise. I didn't vote for President Trump, but I'm gonna tell you something. Y'all talking about solutions. Some of them policies that he's going after, some of these agencies, and some of these things that's been going on for the last 60 years.
Right.
That he's tearing apart.
Yeah.
It's going to force Black families to get back together. It's going to cause the marriage rates to go up. The other day they was talking about the attack on the Section 8. See all this stuff about, I don't need no man in the house now. All that's coming to an end. You're going to have to we seen those programs in the late 60s, early 70s, take Black men out of the home.
Sure did.
Right? Guess what? Gonna have to go back to that. All that about you don't need no man in the house and and the government been your husband. That's short-lived.
You're gonna be divorced, baby.
According to some of these policies. So I'm glad you talked to that, Wise. I'm glad you talked to that, and I welcome that.
I do too.
I do
too. And before you go, I want to say this in reference to that particular situation. We were in the gym talking about this, and obviously there's a lot of discussions out here, about all these women. They strong, they independent, or I need if I am going to take on a husband, he's got to make 100, 150, 200,000. You know what I'm saying? These just absurd numbers that majority of people just. They don't make that kind of money. People aren't making that type of bread in America, even though, yes, this is the wealthiest country in the world, but people aren't making that kind of bread. And because of them taking away, the Section 8 and all these different benefits, yes, you're absolutely right. It's going to force chicks to lower those standards. And we're going to get to a point to where it's, hey, does he have a pulse and a place? Simple as that. He got a pulse and a place.
If they had a daddy, all right. If they had a daddy, the dad would direct them.
Absolutely.
Like I find it so crazy, and I get this pushback. This is the pick me side now. Now I'm moving from the teller to the pick me. So the pick me side, okay. They say to me, well, why do you always care what a man thinks? Because I revere my father, my grandfather, and the father before him, and the father before him. So I definitely care what a man thinks. I care about the person that's in charge of my protection, my safety, okay, the provision for my children. Yeah, I care what he thinks. You would want to, right? And then even for the children, I mean the women that say, well, I can do it all by myself. Nature always comes back to the front, because now all you hear is, I'm tired. I want to live a soft life. I don't know what a soft life is, because if you was feminine, you'd be soft life anyway. But at the end of the day, it always comes back. So it goes to what you were saying, Aaron, that yeah, they're going to be coming back because they no longer have, the the government to say, well, we'll subsidize this, because a lot of that independency, because if you look at the federal government, the reason why they're squawking, especially in this area, we're in the DMV, the reason why they're squawking is because most of those independent women's wealth have come from the federal government.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They're the most employed by the federal government.
Yep.
So it's going to take them out of the middle class and things like that, because they don't want to work with the man. So yeah, you're absolutely correct. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a lot of kicking and screaming, because that's what I get on my channel.
We're already seeing it. And we got a couple super chats I want to read real fast. Mythology Noir says, Black culture isolating itself allows bad behavior to fester without attention. Males have lost leadership because moms raise kids alone. It's spreading. Okay, it's spreading. These are not new problems, just old ones used to disrupt. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Espa says, I don't think Aaron is, I think he's meant to say is racist. I think he has arrested development, just mentally stuck in a time that no longer exists. What up, Mika? Let's see who we got a couple to read. Vincent Devekis or Devekis. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. He's 100% right, but this all started with feminism. It was all downhill from there. You get no argument from me there, brother. Jeffrey Wisnot says, and thank you for the $5 super chat, Vincent, and thank you for the $5 super chat as well, Jeffrey. Nowadays, parents are trying to be their kid's best friend instead of their parent. There's a lot of that going on, and that's across the board. We used to look at, let's just keep it a buck. We used to look at some of these white kids out there, not all, but some of them, and say, man, my parents wouldn't dare let me get away with this. But now we're seeing that spill over into Black communities now. There was a time when Black mama or Black daddy would be on your head at the store, or you get that talk, don't ask for nothing, don't touch nothing. We going in here to get one thing and we walking out. And if you touch something, hey, they're going to get you right where you are. We've gotten away from that. People have gotten a lot softer. We have moms trying to be their daughter's sisters. I'm just saying, growing up down south, you see certain things.
I'm just saying, I don't know what white parents y'all got, because the white parents it's the same foot to you know what.
Get in there, Aaron.
Real quick, I want to address that super chat, but I want to say this real quick. You just said something, Lines, about your parents being a certain way, and you go in the store, not to ask for nothing. I think I told you, Wise, my grandfather was a sharecropper. That was another form of slavery. My father had 10 brothers and 4 sisters. There were 15 children in the house. There was no time to be playing. When my father raised us, he didn't play. My father didn't have to say much. He didn't talk a whole lot. He could look at you and you could tell what he was saying with his eyes when he looked at you.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So to that person that just said, I'm stuck in time, let me share something real quick. The state of Mississippi finally ratified the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which abolished slavery on March 16th, 1995. This happened 130 years after the initial ratification of the amendment. However, the ratification wasn't officially certified until February 7th of 2013. So that narrative about I'm stuck in time, what I say to that person, I lived through a whole lot. I'm older than a lot of you on this panel, except for the pastor. I seen a lot. I lived this thing. Don't tell me I'm stuck in time and I don't know what's going on right now. With that, y'all got it.
I got a super chat to read, and then we'll give everybody a last word. We get out here, man. My dog is talking to me, telling me he got to go outside. But shout out to AT for the $10 super chat. He says, we need more conversations like this. I see 4 strong men, 2 powerful women having a wildly direct and necessary discussion. God bless y'all. And is that crystal beyond labels? And yes, sir, it is. that is Crystal beyond labels. So thank you for the $10 super chat. We're gonna get out of here, but I'll give each one of you guys last word on this, and then we'll close it down. Minister, if you want to go first, and then we'll just kind of go around. Minister, Aaron, and then Jason, Crystal, Mika. Y'all can just go.
Yes, thank you again, Brother Wise, for having us on your program and for having this discussion. I appreciate you. May God bless you and continue to minister to you and through you in your program. Yes, let's just start focusing on how we can be a blessing. Make sure to be the best we can be the best us we can be, improve ourselves, and everyone around us that we can reach, do our best to reach them in Jesus' name.
Love it. Aaron?
Oh,
Go ahead,
okay.
Aaron.
Yeah, Wise, first of all, thank you for allowing me to come into space with you guys this morning. To all of the panel, y'all so gracious, and I appreciate each and every one of you.
Amen.
And maybe we can have some more of these discussions. I would love to come back up and talk to you. And in any way that I can help any one of you that got anything going on, I'm here for it.
Amen.
Man, thanks, Wise. I'm just glad that you didn't throw in my email from the last time we had a conversation. So I'm glad I didn't get kicked out the Cool Kid Club. By the way, Aaron, man, I just dropped my email in the chat, man. Shoot me an email, man, if you ever want to get together and we can rap about it for sure. Oh, it blocked my email, so I can't post it. Okay, because Wise, they make me a mod. There we go. dearwokesy@gmail.com. But thank you so much, man. This was a fantastic panel. The live chat has been amazing. Looking at the great conversations and comments going back and forth. My only admonishment is to do this, man. Just go outside and just talk to folk. Go to the grocery store, just meet people, shake hands. Just engage with folk. A lot of this Black fatigue and just culture fatigue is because we don't know each other. We don't know each other. They've made a cottage industry of us shunning people and feeling proud and big chested that I don't know my neighbors across the street. Go over across the street and just, you ain't got to bake no cookies, just go knock on the door and just say, hey, my name is Jason. This is my family. Grace and peace. Just say whatever. I did that to all my neighbors and we all know each other now.
Amen.
Now we don't talk every day. We ain't best friends. We ain't going on vacation together. But the gentleman across the street the other day came across, he's a guy I always joke because he's always playing golf. He came across the street the other day and I'm like, Lord, what is this? What is he about to say to me? Because, you got to have he's a white guy. I'm like, oh man, he about to say something about my yard ain't cut right. He gonna say something, whatever, right? He came across the street and congratulated my daughter because my daughter is going to his alma mater.
Wow.
And without any provocation, he and his wife both went to this school. He's like, man, if they need anything, if you need help with anything, know anything about the school, blah, blah, blah. Me and my wife both went there. We'd be happy to help her out. If she wants to come over and talk about it, we'll do that. A laundry list of stuff. Didn't ask him for it. He was not provoked to do it. It was just because I've made myself available to him. Right. And smiled and shook his hand and talked to him and such like that. So my admonishment to the whole live chat is just go out and meet people, man. Just go out and talk to folk. Take your bonnets off. Don't be rolling around in your slides. But I just want to make Aaron laugh. That's all I want to do. I just want to see if I can get Aaron to laugh. But go out there and just meet folk, man. Just go out there. That's the only way we're going to dispel these shenanigans, is just by being gracious and kind and recognize folk don't know. Not knowing something is not a crime.
Right.
If somebody says, I don't know something, or they say something inappropriate, they don't pronounce something right. My wife's name, I've never met a person that pronounces my wife's name right. And it's a joke. It's a joke how many times they mispronounce her name. But she doesn't get offended by it because the person has less melanin and come off the top rope. She already knows. She knows when she hands something to them with their name on it, she already just announces it. She just pronounces it for them. Just call me G. Don't even worry about it. So she stopped them in their tracks. So a long story short, enjoy yourself, but go out and introduce yourself to people, talk to folk, engage with people. And I guarantee you'll see a whole lot less. You'll feel a whole lot less tired.
Get in there, Crystal.
Thank you, Wise, for having me again. It was nice to see you again, Minister Denzel. Nice to meet you, Mika and Jason and Aaron, my New York brother, even though I'm here in Atlanta. My New York brother. I'll be here cheering for the Knicks, even though I'm all the way down here. I'll be cheering for them tonight because right now we stand up and we proud of them for right now. But I will say thank you to the chat. And I just want everybody to think about this. if we go back to our identity in Christ, like I will keep saying over and over again, we can do so much more. We can move further. Let's move into the place of forgiveness, love for one another, shining our light, not celebrating bad behavior, because that is the problem currently. Helping people understand it's important to be accountable to yourself, accountable to others. And I agree with what Jason said, because even my neighbor now, they're a wonderful Egyptian couple. And I remember it, it's an Egyptian family. And I remember initially, they kept to themselves, I kept to myself. And I remember I took something over to their house and the woman was so happy. And I brought, because she has children school age and my kids are out of school, so brought her some school supplies. I was like, I have a whole bunch of extra school supplies, would you like it? And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. To the point now she brought over some food. She wanted me to taste her Egyptian bread pudding, which was amazing. It's like we can all find a space to be there for one another, loving each other, and do exactly what God wants us to do. Because if we're the light, we can really stamp out all of the darkness in this world, but we have to be that light. And that is my point. I think I made somebody laugh when I said it before. I land my plane again.
Landed. Thank you, Crystal. Go ahead, Mika.
Well, thank you, Wise, for inviting me, because I saw it the other day when you invited me. I said, I don't mind pulling up. But thank you, and I appreciate everyone on the panel. Even if I don't agree, I tell people this all the time. I love a dissenting voice, because it may be something that I don't know. And I'm not above learning something new. I'm young, and maybe somebody knows more. But I'm also in the business of giving people information as well. So I think we can all learn from each other, whether young, old, black, white. And I talk about my family a lot, because it annoys some people and I don't care. But I talk about my family a lot, and I do because I've learned so much from just having those different people in my family. All right. I've learned so much about culture and about how to respect others' cultures, because my Thanksgivings, okay, we have green bean casserole and everything else. Okay. We have Velveeta macaroni and cheese and the thick cheese in the macaroni. And everybody appreciates whatever you bring to the table. And that's what I rather see from people. I'd rather see that than, see the divisiveness. But I also want to say this last thing. A lot of people have to stop being so offended and just hear what somebody is saying. I think that's where the fatigue is coming from. When I say fatigue, I mean for everybody, because there's no willingness to listen to other people. And just because you're not familiar with that culture or what they're doing, or maybe you don't even like, what goes on in that culture, it doesn't mean you can't respect something. And I think that's where we're at right now. We don't respect one another. We don't respect differences. We don't respect opinions. We just don't have respect in general. So if I can leave everybody with one thing, I just hope everybody learns to listen, truly listen, and then have understanding so you can get to the same destination.
All right. Well, hey, we'll leave it there. Thank you guys for pulling up this morning, man. I really, really appreciate all of you guys for pulling up. Chris as well. I know he had to roll out early. But thank you guys. We'll definitely have another one of these. I think we should have one of these to talk solutions either on my channel or we can do it on yours, Jason, however you want to do it. I'd be more than happy to do so. Just give me a day's notice, man. I don't check my email. I don't check my email every day. I try
This
to,
rascal.
but sometimes I miss.
Bro, you be emailing me like 20 minutes before, man. Don't even, man.
I know I'm terrible.
That's okay.
Bro.
That's okay. I'm gonna respect you. I'm gonna give you a day in advance.
I am terrible with that.
I'll be like, man, this rascal put up the bat signal. I got to get going, man.
Wise, real quick, is this going to be on your channel?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because I looked for the last
live on there now.
I couldn't find it.
Aaron, can I just ask you a quick question? Where are you from in New York?
Brooklyn.
Okay. I went to NYU for college, and
okay.
Yeah, New York is a different world from here.
It is not.
Yeah,
Atlanta.
but yeah, it's up there. Yeah, and this will be on the platform as well. Hopefully, yeah, I don't think anything crazy was said, so yeah, we'll be good to go. But I appreciate you guys pulling up, man. We'll definitely do this again. Jason, I'll link up with you. I know I'm like somewhat last minute, but actually this right here, man, I hit y'all up yesterday. So this was actually I was early.
You did good. You did good. Yes.
But a lot of times,
that's fair. But the first time
but a lot of times,
I'm
working on yeah, I did. But a lot of times, I'm working on the next show later in the evening and in the mornings. So once I kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about, and then I can say, okay, hey, let me reach out, an hour. And I try to give you guys, 2 hour or so, advance, more times than not, But I do appreciate you guys pulling up this morning.
Thank you, Wise. You're doing a great job, man. We appreciate you.
Yes.
All right, man. Thank you guys, man. You guys take care. We're gonna go ahead and wrap the show here.
Peace and peace.
I appreciate you all, man. Thank you all for pulling up. And before we get out of here, there is a couple super chats I need to read real fast. Shout out to Googly Eyes with the $20 super chat. It says, "Let's talk and make change together," or "Let's talk together and make change." Thank you very much. Shout out to Vincent with the $5 super chat. It says, "Here's a good topic. Define what rights. Oh my goodness, man. Define what rights are." The right to free speech, abortion, etc. Do we deserve them without having obligations? Okay, y'all got to work with me on this grammar, man. Shout out to Joseph Orsini with the $20 super chat. It says, "Got some bad gas, comedic relief. Love you all. Great panel wise." Thank you very much, man. I appreciate all the panel members that pulled up this morning, man. Thank you guys for pulling up and blessing us. I'm sure there's a lot of folks, in the chat that really, really enjoyed the conversation, man. This was awesome. We will definitely be continuing these types of shows, on the show, and because I definitely appreciate it as well, man. Again, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit that like button. Help boost this content up in the algorithm, man. You guys enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed that, man. Thank you to all the ARP family members. Shout out to everybody that supported the channel financially via super chat, super stickers. Thank you guys very much, man. Keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so